All right, so today we're diving deep into Dune, but not just the usual spice and sandworm stuff. We're tackling the litany against fear. Fear's the mind killer. That one, it's like so iconic. Every Dune fan knows it by heart, practically. But what if it's more than just like a philosophy thing? What if it was born from an actual real threat?
Well, that's what this article we're looking at today explores. It connects the litany to the HBO Max show Dune, The Prophecy. Specifically, there's this terrifying virus revealed in episode 5. It's called the Omnus Plague, and it might just hold the key to figuring out where the litany came from.
Oh, wow. So another virus deep dive. But this one sounds different. This one's engineered by the thinking machines, right? And it attacks the human nervous system.
Yeah, exactly. Straight to the amygdala, the brain's fear center.
That's terrifying. So the more scared you are, the worse it gets.
Yeah, exactly. Like the fear itself powers the destruction. Like imagine a weaponized panic attack.
Oh, wow. Okay, so then it's not just about being mentally strong. It's about survival, right? Which makes you think about the Bene-Gesserit and how they use the litany. It's like they're not just trying to calm down, are they? They're training to resist an actual attack on their brains.
Right, exactly. It's almost like a defense mechanism against weaponized fear.
So is the litany like a preemptive strike against this virus then?
Well, it's possible. And there's this chilling line in the litany, too. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. It's not just messing with your mind, right?
All right.
It's got real power, destructive power.
Right.
So you have to wonder, could the litany have come about because of this virus?
Oh, okay, now we're going full conspiracy theory.
Right.
And this article even mentions a character, Desmond Hart. He's got some suspicious ties to the thinking machines.
Oh yeah, he does. It even looks like he's involved in spreading the virus.
Really?
Yeah. It hints at a bigger plan to get the machines back in power.
Wow. Okay, so let me get this straight. We've got this deadly fear-weaponizing virus and this mysterious character connected to the machines, and then the Bene-Gesserit, who can resist fear like it's nothing. Are we saying all this points to a secret origin story for the litany against fear?
Well, the article definitely raises that possibility. It makes you think, doesn't it? What if the litany wasn't just about mental toughness? What if it was about surviving this very real, very terrifying threat?
Yeah.
A threat designed to exploit fear itself.
That's pretty wild. And there's more too. The article talks about this connection between the Omnus Plague and the Bene-Gesserit's gum jabber test. The hand in the box thing.
Oh, yeah.
Not exactly a fun time.
Right.
But what if it wasn't just some random test? What if it was a way to find people who were immune to the Omnus Plague? The ones who could face fear and not get destroyed.
It's definitely a possibility.
That's crazy. Imagine that. The Bene-Gesserit having to separate the strong from the weak. The ones who would survive versus the ones who wouldn't. And all because of this virus.
Yeah. It definitely adds a whole new layer to their practices, doesn't it?
For sure. That's a pretty intense thought.
It really does make you think, yeah.
It does. So, okay, we're talking about this weaponized virus. And
yeah.
Maybe it's the origin of the litany.
Yeah.
And this secret test to find the people who are immune. But this article, it goes even further, right? It says the virus itself might be like a twisted version of the litany.
It is a bit of a paradox.
Right.
The litany, it talks about how destructive fear is. Fear is the mind killer, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like the thinking machines, when they made the Omnus Plague, they took that idea and turned it into a weapon.
Wow. So they weaponized the idea that fear can destroy you.
Yeah, pretty much.
But here's the thing, right? If the Bene-Gesserit came up with the litany to protect themselves from this virus, it's like they used the machine's own weapon against them.
Exactly. Like, it's philosophical judo.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. You take your enemy's strength and you use it to beat them. And if you think about the litany that way, it's not about, like, never being afraid. It's about mastering fear.
Oh.
Understanding it so it can't control you.
So it's a different way of looking at it.
Exactly.
It's not about avoiding fear. It's about, like, using it.
Right.
That's pretty interesting. And we've been talking a lot about the physical stuff. But what about the psychological effects of this virus? The article mentions how it targets the amygdala, right? So it basically hijacks your fear response.
Yeah, it's like mental manipulation.
Oh, wow.
Fear becomes a tool to control people.
So if fear can be a weapon like that, what else could it mean in Dune? Could this be why fear and control are such big themes in the whole story?
It's definitely something to think about, yeah.
It is.
And the article, it connects this back to our own world, too. How fear is used to manipulate people.
Oh, yeah.
In politics, advertising, even relationships. We're always being bombarded with these messages that play on our fears.
It's true.
And it's easy to let that fear control us. It's like a constant low-level omnious plague.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
It affects our thinking, our choices.
So what are we supposed to do? Become like emotionless robots?
No, not at all. The litany, it's not about denying fear. It's about understanding it, confronting it, overcoming it.
Right.
It's about recognizing that fear is a natural thing.
Yeah.
It's human. Sometimes it's even useful.
I guess so.
But we can't let it control us.
That makes sense.
And the article makes it clear, too. Dune. The prophecy is just scratching the surface of all this.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's more to come.
It seems like it.
So for everyone listening, the question is, what other secrets will the show reveal about the litany? You know, where it came from, what it really means, and more importantly, I guess, how can we use the litany in our own lives? In a world where fear is like a weapon.
Yeah, that's a great question.
It really is. It's a lot to think about.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you wonder, you know, in our world, is fear being used against us like that?
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time.
Right. It's kind of scary when you think about it. But let's go back to Dune for a second. The article mentions how the virus and the litany, they might actually be two sides of the same coin. They both acknowledge the power of fear, right? But they offer different ways of dealing with it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting duality.
It is.
You've got the Omnus Plague, which uses fear as a weapon to, like, destroy the mind.
Right.
And then you've got the litany. It teaches you to face your fear, to let it pass through you without, like, consuming you.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. It's like a mental martial art or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Train your mind to master your fear response instead of just letting it take over.
Right.
Which makes me think about the Bene-Gesserit and their goals. They're not just trying to survive, are they? They want to guide humanity to shape history. Do you think mastering fear is, like, crucial for that?
I think it's essential.
Really?
Yeah, think about it. The Dune universe, it's so complex politically. To navigate that, to make tough decisions, to face those powerful enemies, and to do it all without giving in to fear.
Right.
The litany, it becomes more than just a way to stay alive.
Okay.
It becomes a tool for leadership,
Wow.
for taking control in a world where everyone's trying to control you with fear.
So what you're saying is, the litany, it's not just about individual potential, it's about collective power too.
Exactly.
So by mastering our fear, we can protect ourselves, but also, like, change the world around us.
I think so. And that's a message that goes way beyond Dune, honestly.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's about human nature. Fear, if we let it, it can paralyze us, divide us, it can stop us from reaching our full potential.
That's a good point.
But if we face our fears, if we understand them and don't let them control us,
Yeah.
we unlock something powerful inside ourselves.
Right.
Something that can change our lives and the world.
It's a pretty powerful message. And one that feels really important right now, you know?
Absolutely.
In our world today, fear is everywhere. It's like a tool that's used against us all the time. So for everyone listening out there, think about this. What if the litany against fear isn't just something from a book? What if it's a real way to unlock our potential? What could you achieve if you could truly master your fear? And use that energy for good. It's something to think about for sure. And on that note, we're wrapping up our deep dive into Dune and the litany against fear. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.